Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Gooey's Dungeon Dive, the mini podcast where I rank every dungeon chronologically in the Legend of Zelda series. We're making our way through the Legend of Zelda for the NES, and this time we're talking about level 6, the dragon. So now we're talking, we had the snake, the lizard, and now we finally evolved into the dragon, I guess. This one, another jump in difficulty to be certain. The big reason why we'll save for a minute. But first of all, one thing I want to say is, one way this could be difficult is if you happen to come here with no extra keys, and you spend the first key you get in the wrong place, you could be without a key, and you gotta go get one from another dungeon or go buy one. That being said, if you're playing through this game like normal, I think it's gonna be unlikely that you come here without like 3 keys in your bag, but I'm sure it's happened to people before. So I mean, that's just the name of the game here, right? That's how this Zelda game works, with the amount of keys. Other than that, the navigation of this isn't too bad. It's a bit more linear. It reminds me a little bit more of the Moon in terms of, it's instead of that one kind of having like 2 sort of paths or maybe even just some offshoots. This one really is, it feels kind of linear, and then it has some little tiny offshoots, but nothing too serious. That's not the problem here with this dungeon. I mean, we have another one of those, underground passageways that take you from one side of the dungeon to another side, but it shoots you up right, near the boss kind of, so it's not like, I don't know, it's not too confusing, I would say. Like, it sort of feels natural, the continuation of your path, so I don't think it's really going to throw anyone off too bad. You just do a quick loop around when you come up. Oh, I should say, one thing I should throw in is that now we're back to, we had 2 kind of special dungeon entrances before, where you had a unique way of finding and getting to the dungeon. This doesn't have that at all, though it is in a part of the map that is way more difficult to get to, I think, than any of the other parts have been so far. You're definitely gonna have to go buy some Lionels and stuff like that, so even just trekking to this dungeon is, a bit of a hassle, I would say, a bit of a challenge for sure. The big step up in difficulty, I would say, is because of the new enemy in this dungeon. I think it's the only new enemy, which is the robe, which are, little wizard guys. They're cute little wizard guys who shoot magic beams at you, and they can be devastating. We've got some orange ones, which they appear in kind of one spot and shoot at you. I don't think they're too bad as long as you aren't in their line of fire. But it's really the blue ones they're very chaotic, and they're flying around the room, and they can be really tough. It'll help if you got that magic shield upgrade that you can buy from the shops. That'll help you out a lot, because you can block some of their beams, some of the magic beams. Unfortunately, in most of the rooms that they're troublesome in, they also drop in a bunch of likes who I think will eat your shield. So I mean, these can have some really tough rooms. That's kind of what this dungeon comes down to, is surviving the whiz robes. I just played it now. I've been playing through these dungeons as I rank them, and this one I needed both bits of magic, because I did like full exploration. It was pretty tough. Now there's a lot of stuff you can avoid in this, again, by like bombing things, stuff like that, where you wouldn't have to use as much health potion as I did, but even then you're encountering a lot of whiz robes, so that's going to be a big challenge for anyone coming in here. It is definitely tougher than the Dark Nuts, I think. One of the little offshoots in exploration here is you can go and find the magic rod, I think it's called, which is not a item that you need to beat the game, but it is kind of cool. It shoots out a beam that'll hurt enemies. Not the whiz robes, though. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool of an item, actually, just because it's kind of a useful attack item. But, and I also think it's just cool thematically that, you know, you're just in this dungeon littered with whiz robes, and you even go to this room that's filled with them. And, you find underneath the room a hidden chamber that contains a magic rod. There's something kind of thematic about that. Kind of like I said back with the first dungeon and the second one, I think, too, where you get the boomerang from the Gorias. It almost feels like, there's actual, like, theming and, like, a reason for this item to exist. Like, you're taking it from the wizrobes themselves in a way, like their magic power or something like that. I don't know, it's just kind of cool to think about, especially because like the animation for the attack is like exactly the same as when they shoot their beams at you. So not a required item, but it's cool, I think. So we got another mini boss. We're keeping up the mini boss trend, and of course it's an old boss we faced, and it's the Gliok. This time with 3 heads, though if you got the upgraded sword and everything, and I think the heads take a little bit less damage, shouldn't be as hard. It's cool to see Gliok again. You can avoid this guy, I believe, but he's cool. He's a cool boss fight. This dungeon now has the it has the distinction of having 2 old men hints in it, which is kind of fun. One is the one you can waste your key on right in the beginning, though he will tell you about the weakness for the final boss. But the other one gives you a hint on the secret to find the next dungeon. So there we go, another one of those. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. That's cool. We'll definitely talk a little bit more about that for our next episode. But then, yeah, the other guy, he tells you to defeat Goma. He basically tells you got to shoot Goma in the eye. Who, of course, Goma is our boss in this dungeon. I don't know, kind of a weak boss, I think, for this one. It just takes one bow and arrow shot in the eye. Kind of easy, and kind of dodging the fireballs that get shot at you it's not much more difficult than like Aquamentus in a way, but the precision with the aiming, I guess, can be off, waiting for the eye to open. To me, this actually would have made a lot of sense as like the first boss, especially because you get the bow and arrow in the beginning. Like maybe if you just got it and you could shoot it right away, but and maybe they could have made it take more than one hit. I don't know. But, overall, Goma is kind of a classic boss in The Legend of Zelda, and it looks cool in this game, so I'm not going to fault that too much, but, it could be better for sure. So, the dragon. We gotta come and place this on our ranking, and I'm going to be honest, this is a good dungeon, I think, but it's not my favorite. It does have a certain gauntlet quality to like level 2 the moon did that I wasn't as big of a fan of. And then especially compounded with like there's not really a lot of new enemies. It's just like wizrobe. I don't really mind the difficulty so much. It's just like it kind of lacks a little bit of diversity, but if it is kind of a similar thing to level 2, I do like that now it's added this like underground path to go to another part of the dungeon. I also like that it has a larger offshoot you can go explore and get a more unique item that, you don't need it to beat the game, but I do like it's a bit more unique than just an upgrade of a boomerang right away. And it's actually, I like using that item myself anyway, so I think that's cool. And then also you get like you can go to, talk to the old man and get that hint. So that's pretty cool. So I'm actually going to throw it right above the moon. I'm sorry to all the moon fans out there. I know I've heard some comments from people. That's a good dungeon. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's towards my bottom, but I still think this is also a pretty good dungeon. So that edges out the moon. And puts it right at number 5. At number 4, we've got the Manji. At number 3, we've got the eagle. Number 2, we've got the lizard. And number 1, the snake. Okay, so how am I doing? How does this list look Let me know in the comments. You know, I think we're almost through. We're almost through the game. We just got a few more dungeons left. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe, share it out with everyone, all that good stuff. And of course, thanks for watching.